So, welcome to the E-com Growth Show, where we cut through the chaos of e-com growth and show you how to build a business that scales and supports the life that you actually want. I'm your host, Brittany, former boutique owner turned growth strategist for e-com owners like yourself. And today I'm joined by co-founders of Shopanova and Bloom, Robbie Switzer and Danny Stafford. We created this podcast to pull back the curtain on what's really working to grow Shopify brands to consistent 100K plus months without burnout or guesswork. Whether you're getting traction or scaling fast, this show is designed to help you simplify, focus, and grow with purpose. Okay, so you're looking at your calendar, planning for Q4. Today, we're going to be talking directly to you and making sure that you're aligning your goals and actions for absolute success in Q4. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So with your planning, there's going to be 4 main components to make sure you have the maximum amount of success. One is going to be your mindset. Mindset's everything going into it. Then, does your plan make sense? Does your offer make sense? Is your inventory in place and ready to support and sustain your goals? And last but not least, are your goals themselves in alignment with those 3 other parts? And I'm telling you guys who are listening, when all these 4 things are in alignment and in unison and working together, you are going to have the smoothest Q4 to date. And this information is based on not only just my personal information, the good, the bad, the mistakes I've made owning a boutique, but also clients who have just had incredible success. I'm talking like 4, 5, 10 timing their revenue come Q4. With that being said, if one of these things is out of alignment, you are going to feel more friction, more stalls, and more stress in this season. So this is going to help you kind of narrow down what's in alignment, what's not in alignment, and some action steps on how to fix and adjust that. Awesome. Okay, so diving in, Robbie, Danny,
What's up?
y'all, what's up? What's good? Have you seen this like with your agency clients as we're gearing into Q4? So like what's your experience been with these 4 components, the mindset, planning, inventory, and goals?
First of all, planning. I mean, we can start with mindset and go through them sequentially, but everybody pushes it off till last minute, like
Yeah.
without fail. And it's kind of a bummer because it's like they push it off, but then to make it happen, they have to like miss out on fun holiday stuff. So that happens time and time and again. So I don't know. There's probably a lot we could dive into in regards to planning, but just to get the ball rolling, like you have to be planning ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Last year, I had a few 6-figure a month boutiques we're coaching together. And it's like, I don't know, they were like recently joined Bloom. I think it was something like September or like the middle of October. And I was like, okay, team, like, what's the Black Friday plan? And they looked at me with like spacing out. They're like, like sell clothing or whatever. Like, I was like, hold on a second, you don't have a plan? So it's crucial, no matter what stage of business you're in, to get started on that ASAP.
Yeah, you pretty much need to live like a few months in advance because you want to plan out, not only your inventory, what you're going to be selling, but the offers you're actually going to be making on that inventory, as well as like maybe even a little bit of contingency stuff. Like if that offer's not taken off, like what can you do instead? But a lot of people don't realize you're kind of like creating an environment for a successful Black Friday months before Black Friday ever happens.
Yeah, for sure.
And I will say the trend has been that it's less about just that weekend, like Black Friday or Cyber Monday. And it's kind of becoming this bell curve that's getting flatter and flatter, where there's more days before that are big sale periods, and there's more days after that are also big sale days. So it used to be like whatever, a 4-day event. Now it just seems like it's a month-long frenzy.
Yeah, for sure.
So just kind of keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, the rules are with e-com and running your ads, there are no rules. Like,
Yeah.
we had a client, it's like Father's Day. ad all year round and it performs super well. And it's like, okay, if it works, it works. You know what I mean? So the rules are there are no rules with some of this. First and foremost, we're going to dive into mindset. So I think part of what can be really difficult, Robbie, you're like, hey, it's crucial. You need a plan. You need to live months in advance of where you currently are. Do you know what sucks the most? When you're chilling in July, you're at market, you're placing all these orders for quarter four, you have the most money out. And guess what typically naturally happens for most of us in July? Your sales go down. So
Mhm.
it will put you in this state of like core survival. And then we're telling our audience, hey guys, like make sure to plan in months in advance, you know? So what I want to encourage you, I struggled with this probably like the first 3 years I had my boutique, to be honest, is the same thing happened every single year. I was expecting different results, right? But then it was probably like year three, year four, it started pivoting for me. And I just had this like, I cannot set goals for quarter four with the mindset and actions and behaviors I'm showing up with in quarter three when maybe it's just a little bit lower. So it is kind of, you need to get like mentally ahead and in the energy for quarter four, and you most likely are going to have to hype yourself up now and be your best cheerleader versus your worst critic because it's game time now. And we're recording this in August. So, just a word of encouragement if that's you, like, hey, quarter four is going to be, it's going to be incredible. You need to hype yourself up. I'm going to have the best quarter four I've had. It's going to be incredible. People love my product, they love my brand, and I am ready and charged up and ready to go for quarter four, right? But it is a mental, like, I'm going into battle and it's like prepping yourself and hyping yourself up. So, a lot of times when we're in a scarcity mindset or that survival mindset, that can equate to one, completely unrealistic goals. I'll get into that in a little bit, or way timid goals. So it's like, oh, well, this sucks. I don't know if I'm going to be open again next month. Woe is me. Blah, 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 blah. Right. And then you kind of set really low expectations and goals for yourself that aren't really realistic, and then you underbuy, underdo inventory, etcetera, so you really are missing out on a lot of sales. Or I've had clients and myself set completely unrealistic goals that are too high, and
Mhm.
mentality around that is, "Oh, well, I set this really big goal and I'm not even close yet, so I might as well just stop before I get ahead," you know? And we kinda beat ourselves up and repeat that cycle. So, if you're listening right now, just a bit of an alignment check. None of us here have this answer for you. It's going to be yourself that has this answer. Do your
Mhm.
goals for quarter four excite you? Just take a breath with that, honestly. Do they excite you? Where you'll feel that in your body, it's typically a lighter feeling. You don't feel this dullness or this heaviness. You'll feel an excitement and it will challenge you, but not completely fill you with dread. And do you feel like they're achievable? So do they excite you and do they feel achievable? If your answer is yes to both, you're most likely in alignment for your quarter four goals from a mindset, energetic point of view.
Mhm.
Love
Awesome.
what you're saying because, short-term goals have to be achievable. I think long-term goals, you don't have to know how you're going to get there or whether you think they're achievable or not, right? But you can set big long-term goals. But short-term, like you have to make them achievable. Otherwise, if they're super unrealistic and you don't hit them, guess what? You lose confidence. And then you're like, what's the point of even setting goals in the first place? I never hit my goals. Kind of get back into the woe is me. So I love what you're saying about, hey, make sure they're realistic and achievable. Also dream big a little bit. Set them high. Keep them
Mhm.
realistic though.
So, super practically speaking, in the words of Ice Cube, you're going to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Thank you very much. Here is a simple equation to see if you're on or if you're off, or to really actually tune in with what's a realistic goal for you and your business. So, typical growth in a business year over year is 20 to 40% for a healthy growing business. Okay. So you can first of all look at your goals, say, I want to quadruple last year. Given your data and analytics, looking at your year over year and your month over month growth, you practically need to sit down with yourself and say, is this a realistic goal? The equation to find that out very practically is you're going to take last year's quarter four total revenue times, and then in parentheses, one plus your growth target. So, for example, it would be $100,000. Let's say that was total for quarter four times 1.25, 1.4, 25%, 40% equals that new projected number. So, that would be kind of your goal. Just if you were like, hey, I'm shooting from the hip, I don't know what to do, that would be the equation on how to find it. You're just kind of taking your previous year, adding 20 to 40% more for this year, speaking. Years ago, I had a coach. She really helped me out with my goals. I got stuck in this, either I would set my goal too high and then I would give up on myself halfway through the month, like, oh, I'm burnout. It's not even worth it. Melodrama, melodrama, melodrama. Or I'd hit my goal early because I was really feeling it that month. And then I'd be like, I can take a vacation. Like, I was just like, give me a margarita. I'm so done working now. And then I kind of crash out and have to like rally for for the beginning of the next month. But the in between is something that I got coached on, the good, better, best goals. And this is so practical. So my good goal is, hey, this is a practical, very realistic number I can achieve. I know this is going to meet my minimums. This is going to also pay me a little. This feels good to me. So maybe that's your 20%, right? A
Mm.
better goal might be 30% and best would be 40% in a hypothetical. What I like to do, this isn't as practical, but you guys are gonna, if you do the activity, you'll really feel it. Write down those numbers on a piece of paper and you will feel it in your body what feels good for you. So you'll feel like a lightness, like I said, if it's good, you'll instantly feel like a restriction, a sinking in your gut if it's like, "Oh, that number doesn't feel good to me," right? But within that 20 to 40% range would be the practical grounding of that activity, and then play with numbers a bit. But when I'd hit my 20% growth goal, I'd be like, "Okay, bet, let's get to that better goal." And then best goal if I met that better goal, but I'd always consistently feel pretty good about what I was doing based on hitting my goal, but always reaching for a little bit more too.
Yeah. I love it.
Awesome sauce. Any thoughts, comments on that, guys?
I mean, I will say too, like we have brands that their goal is to double every single year. And it's like that's possible too if you have the data there and inventory and processes, right? So 20 to 40%, that's still incredible growth, especially you look at traditional businesses, like people are happy with 10% year over year. E-commerce can be a little more scalable. So some of you guys might be thinking 40%, if I did that, I'd be bummed out. I want to double again like I did the previous year. So, I mean, it just depends on your data, your business, but I would say, 100% is also realistic for quite a few of our clients as well.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And I guess just to share like some experience from other people, we've had a lot of people have to shut down ads because they didn't have inventory, like they sold it all. So that's a bummer. So you definitely want to make sure you have enough inventory. But I understand it's tricky because you're going to be spending a lot more per day. You kind of want to plan to spend quite a bit more than just like your regular daily budget. And you're going to just order a lot more, which can, both of those things can feel scary and it can kind of feel like a shot in the dark. Like, how much do I order? Or how much do I increase my ad spend by? So I like just being able to kind of check in, kind of give yourself some tiers of like, this seems attainable. This would be absolutely amazing. And then just kind of feel it out and see what's best for you.
Yeah, for sure. And the two metrics I like to look at is last year's quarter four and
Mhm.
what your growth has been in the past year leading up to Black Friday.
Yeah.
Typically, a blend of those two metrics, you'll find the sweet spot that you can create healthy projections. But with the wanting to double, quadruple what you did last year, that is possible, but you need a lot of things in alignment, especially fulfillment and inventory and budget to do that. But what really sucks with that sometimes is I've had brands and myself too, like have these super huge goals and they do incredible things and then they still feel like a failure because they didn't meet this like crazy high goal. So if that's you, I'm calling you out And please celebrate yourself because growth is growth and 20 to 40% is like a really healthy scaling business.
Mhm.
Do more than that, please take time to celebrate yourself because that's crucial. Okay,
Mhm.
plan. The plan and the action. So we're talking about the plan. This is more so from Atomic Habits and very simple, guys. You have this goal. Does your daily habits and your weekly activities actually ladder up to what you want to achieve? So I've had some brands and they have some pie in the sky goals. And then I'm like, okay, what sales activities are you doing? Like how many ads are you running? What's your budget? And they're like, well, I have like, like $100 a day. I show up to work when I wanna, and it's very laissez-faire. What's your inventory? And that mentality or that being does not add up to what you want and where you wanna go. So, being really sure that your daily and weekly activities ladder up to your target. So, a practical kind of goal with this, like an equation, would be to find the daily sales that you need to break down those goals. So, what I like to do, super practical, you take your quarterly goal, then you split it out October, November, December. Typically, your November is going to take most of those sales. December, for most brands, have a bit of a dip. You'll see a bit of an increase from August, September to October, kind of gearing up into the transition for fall. This is for most brands, not all. And then you're going to take that monthly goal and you're going to divide it into the daily average. So, what kind of sales do you need per day? And then let's say you can break that down into how many orders you need per day. You can take that sale divided by your AOV, your average order value, and then you can see how many orders you need. So then you kind of reverse engineer this big goal into a very practical, smaller goal. Like, oh, okay, like I just need to work on getting 5 orders today or 10 orders today or 250, 1,000 orders is my goal to break down those much larger goals into smaller practical goals. So a reflection question for you is what am I doing on a daily basis or weekly basis that aligns with my daily sales goal? Am I actively showing up in a way that will provide these type of results? Once again, that is a you self-reflection question. We're not here to tell you yes or no. That's 100% on you, but that's a good way to check yourself. Like, okay, will this actually get me to where I want to go? Awesome.
I bet it's not. I'm just kidding. Typically, that's what we find though, right? And once you go through this exercise, which is easy to happens to me. Typically, my goals are way too big and I have to readjust. But that's okay. And that's what the point of this exercise is to set yourself up for feeling successful
Yeah.
instead of feeling like a failure this quarter for.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure.
One helpful tool too, I was just pulling up another tab to make sure it was working because they've slowly rolled this out and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if you go to triplewhale.com/trends, you can actually start filtering through some data. And so you can pick a date range, you can pick an industry, you can like even identify, say, clothing brands of November 2024 with average order values less than $100, and you can actually see average results from Triple Whale users, which is like, I think it's like, I don't know, 40,000 brands or something at this point. And you can see what was the average cost per acquisition for this type of brand during this time frame. And you can see that for Meta, you can see that for Google. But that might be a good thing to kind of just double check your expectations against. Um, that's a pretty cool thing to see as well.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So, inventory. Without enough product, the plan is going to be misaligned and it won't work. So, very practically speaking, when you're looking at your sales projections, you need at least enough inventory in stock to sell that amount of sales, right? And then you also need to factor in, I would love for this to happen to every single one of our listeners, but the chances of you selling out at 100% of every single thing that you have is just not also practical. So whatever your sell-through rate, you can kind of go through Shopify Analytics to find a little bit more data on that. Whatever your sell-through rate is, you need to factor that in to make sure you have enough inventory on hand to support that. So I'll be working with clients and I'm like, okay, like, what's the plan? What's the goal? And they give me this big ambitious number. And I'm like, okay, what's the total amount of value you have in your inventory right now? And they tell me the number. And I'm like, okay, just logically, you literally, like, you do not have enough inventory to make this happen.
Try again.
Yeah. So making sure that you have enough inventory. And then in addition to that, going to your Shopify analytics and viewing your best sellers from quarter four. So you would just do your quarter four and then review your best sellers. So I'm working with a brand right now. We're doing some inventory projections. And she's like, I'm going to spend all this money on dresses. And I'm like, homegirl, you barely sold any dresses quarter four, but you sold a bajillion hats last year. So let's use those funds towards hats, which is one of the best sellers for their brand. And let's take some of that inventory away from the dresses when we're doing projections, right? So just like very practically. And some of you are like, well, no, duh. But if this was me a couple years ago, I would have been having a light bulb moment like, oh, I didn't know I could go to Shopify and look at my best sellers like back in the day. So to some of us, it'd be like that sometimes, but just making sure you're investing in what people actually want and use your analytics and the data to help support you. This is not new. We don't need to make sure this is like, what is that? What is it called? Not hamster day.
Groundhog Day?
Groundhog Day.
Come
Hamster
on.
day.
Man, it feels like hamster day up in here.
Yeah. You know what? It's not Groundhog Day, y'all. It's not Groundhog Day. You are so welcome, Caleb, for that edit. But anyway, just making sure you're having your best sellers and then making sure you're promoting your best sellers, guys. Your
Yes.
advertising and your marketing needs to align with your inventory efforts. If these things aren't aligned, you will not be super profitable and your sales will suffer because of it. So,
Yeah, quarter four, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is not the time to try to get rid of your shitty inventory that nobody wants, right?
Yeah.
It's time to really sell your best sellers.
another thing is like we're not experimenting. This isn't the time to experiment or to go on some like fleeting pursuit of changing your brand. Like we're not really doing that right now. We're playing it a little bit more conservative. We're looking at our best sellers, we're reviewing our metrics. And this is, a mindset game. It's a practical game, but it's also a numbers game too at the end of the day.
Yeah. So good. So good.
And so that is what I have for today for a very practical next step. If you message us on Instagram, that's at Shopanova, and just say, hey, can I have the alignment equation sheet? We have a full equation sheet where you can kind of put in your data and analytics, and then it takes you through a series of prompts to put it into ChatGPT. So you can actually plan out your quarter four better and make sure that you are personally in alignment. So if that's you, just message us over and we'll send that worksheet over to you.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Brittany.
Yep.
Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ecom Growth Show, where clarity replaces chaos and strategy fuels freedom. If today's episode sparked any idea or gave you a clear next step, we'd love for you to subscribe, share it with a fellow brand owner, and leave a review so more entrepreneurs can grow with intention, not overwhelm. For more resources and real talk on scaling your Shopify brand the smart way, follow us on Instagram at Shopanova. Until next time, keep growing with purpose.